On Sunday, the San Francisco 49ers defeated the Washington Redskins to move to 6-0 on the season. And right away, there were two immediate reactions from this game. The first by folks who didn't necessarily watch and wondered, how could they only score 9 points? How is that even possible? But the other set of reactions were from the folks who watched the game and realized that this was a hugely impressive win, not because of the number of points scored, but due to the extreme weather conditions in which the game was played. The camera doesn't necessarily show it, but this was a torrential downpour. It was very windy, and the players called it the Mud Bowl, and you'll see several times they were slipping and sliding all over the field. And when the weather conditions are that extreme, it means you can't do a lot of the things you normally like to do. If you're a quarterback, you can't set your feet and plant and throw. The ball is said to be heavier because it's a leather ball and it gets waterlogged. And of course, it's slippier as well. And if you're a kicker, you can't set your feet and properly kick the ball either. And so you end up with a very run-heavy defensive game. And it requires a strong team with a lot of willpower to be able to come out with a victory like that. And we're going to start this video off by showing you two plays out of order. And I don't normally do that, but I want to illustrate how the weather conditions affected the quarterbacks especially to start with. So let's get into this and take a look. I'm going to show you both Jimmy Garoppolo and Case Keenum wildly missing passes where the ball slips out of their hands. And these are professional quarterbacks who are used to competing in extreme conditions. And even they had a hard time throwing passes in this weather. Okay, we'll go ahead and go in order now. And what you have to do in a game like this is find ways to win. Let's take a look at this first play. Now here Garoppolo sees that all the receivers are covered. So he decides to scramble down the middle of the field for yardage. Now, right away, we have an interesting moment as it looks like if he doesn't slide, he's going to be blown up by the linebacker here. And in a normal game, that's probably what would happen. Watch as he just goes right by him. See, players can't necessarily get their footing and don't have the explosiveness they would normally have. This is a great play by Garoppolo, one that doesn't necessarily show up in the stat sheet, but he moves the chains here for the 49ers. Okay, we're going to skip ahead to the second quarter now, and there's still no score in the game. Now again, Garoppolo takes a look down the field, and he sees that the receivers are covered. To make matters worse, the defensive linemen are closing in for the kill. So Garoppolo decides to scramble. And I drew a nice, smooth line there, but in reality, it's not that simple. He has to break a tackle, make one man miss, make another man miss, and cut up field, and he gains 7 yards, but it's an impressive 7 yards. Take a look again from this angle. Fans who enjoy the history of the game might be reminded a little bit of Fran Tarkenton here with these moves. Now the scramble gets the 49ers into what would ordinarily be field goal range. But this is no ordinary game. And take a look at what happens. The kick is wide left, and the crowd goes crazy. But Washington's kicker had also missed a field goal earlier in the game. Check it out. And this completely changes the strategy for both teams right away. They know they can't kick in these conditions. So here we have a 4th down, and the ball is on the 28-yard line. In fact, take a look at the line of scrimmage here. This should be field goal range, but both teams know that the normal rules are not going to apply today. So they go for it, and they hand the ball to Peterson, and right away Peterson sees that the 49ers have excellent penetration. And so he tries to make a cut, and he ends up just almost kind of skidding. And the 49er defense swallows him up for a big stop on 4th down. Okay, there's really no need to take a look at the play again, but we are going to go back to the other angle because the camera actually does a nice job of catching the flag on top of the goalpost here. And look at it just whipping around. You can see how windy it is. Wow, that's something else. Okay, Let's move on to the next play. So we're in the third quarter now, and the 49ers really want to get going, and the score is still 0-0 here. And so they're going to start out with a run fake. Naturally, this will draw the attention of the linebackers. The flanker up top is going to go deep, and he's going to take the corner and the safety with him. So when that happens, you're going to see Kendrick Bourne run a post here. And Bourne was one of the few receivers that did good quality work for the 49ers on Sunday. He takes the corner with him, and as soon as the corner commits, Bourne is going to cut to the outside. Now, Bourne just does a great job of waiting until he's in perfect position to make this cut. The defender is way overextended, probably having trouble with his footing. Garoppolo gets him the football, and then he runs after the catch. Now, again, remember how windy it is, right? So take a look at when Garoppolo throws this football. It has to travel a ways in the air. This is a very impressive throw for these conditions. Right on the money. Look at that. Now, at the end of this play, we're going to see something a little bit unfortunate. You see Nicholson raise his hand there, the safety for the Redskins, and he's hurt on the play, and he's going to have to come out of the game. All right, we're in the same drive, and it's 4th down and 5. But again, the 49ers are in a position where they have to go for it because they're out of field goal range here. Garoppolo drops back to pass, and it is intercepted. Washington gets some nice return yards here too. So let's go back to the snap and take a look at what went wrong there. Now this is a really interesting play call by the coaches. So you see Dante Pettis fake a move to the inside here, while the slot receiver just runs an out. The flanker at the bottom of the field is going to go deep, and here we see the true design of the play, which is to draw the safety with him, or to get the safety to crash down to the inside. When he does that, Dante simply turns upfield and sprints for the end zone, and he beats the corner on the play. There's just one problem. The safety doesn't fall for it. And even when a backup has to come into the game unexpectedly, when it's a savvy veteran, it's hard to fool them with moves like this. Now, the real interesting thing is that Apke, the backup, is not a veteran. He's only a second-year player. And this is why I say this was a really interesting play call by the coaches, is they called this directly to attack him, and he makes a very impressive read on this play. Now, having said all that, the question becomes, is there anywhere else Garoppolo could have gone with the football? Let's take a look. The slot receiver is definitely covered. Now, when we look at the other flanker, Kendrick Bourne, we see that there's a lot of Washington players in the area, but I think that this actually opens up for him. Garoppolo might have been able to gun that ball in there. So why didn't Jimmy see it then? Let's go back and take a look from the other angle. Now remember, since the design of the play is to draw the safety away from Pettis, Pettis is your first read. And you don't come off of that read until you have a reason to come off of it. And I think Garoppolo did not see the safety on this play. In fact, when we take a look at how the linebacker and the safety are lined up, they're right in the line of vision of Garoppolo. Now, the flip side is if you can't see the safety, you can't assume that you know where he is. You just can't throw that football. And then you would, make your next progression and move on to your next read. Having said that, I'm not terribly concerned with the throw. The idea behind it was sound. And a turnover in that situation actually isn't so bad. Because remember, it was 4th down. So it's kind of like a long punt. Now, there are some drawbacks to that, which is you don't have your punt coverage team on the field. And it becomes harder for these guys to make the tackle after the play. Now, the cool thing is, we all know that Jimmy is a gamer. And after that interception, he would not throw another incompletion for the entire game. He went 8 for 8 for 113 yards and 14.1 yards per attempt. He stepped up his level of play after that interception. And here, he's facing a 3rd down and 3. And Richie James is just going to run this curl at the line to gain, and the corner's going to go with him. And then James is going to come back to the middle of the field. And he kind of gets lost in the coverage here. Garoppolo finds him, and because there's no one there, James just is able to take off. This ends up being about a 40-yard gain on the play. And in a game like this, one or two big plays like that can be enough to win you the football game. Now when we look from this angle, we see that Garoppolo's first read was to Kittle, but he didn't like what he saw there, and he moved on to his next read. Even after a mistake, Garoppolo is still fearless. He doesn't flinch, and he has quick decision-making, and this results in a big play for the San Francisco 49ers. And he wasn't finished there. The very next play on the field also results in a big gain for the 49ers, so let's check this one out. They start off with a run fake, and right away you can see the Washington defense reacting to it. Now I'm going to cut the outside linebacker some slack here, because he actually does a really good job of staying with George Kittle, who was lined up in the fullback spot. Richie James, who just made the big play, is going to go deep, and this time Washington makes sure that they don't lose him. The corner and the safety will both go with him. And on the other side of the field, this time it's Kendrick Bourne that gets lost in the secondary. He comes wide open, and Garoppolo sees him. He gets him the football, and now the 49ers are in business. You see him slide down at the end there. It gives you an idea of how slippery this field is. Now check out Garoppolo running to his left, throwing to his left, and again the ball is right on the money. Bourne makes a man miss and kind of takes a little bit of a hit there. You got to show a lot of toughness in a game like this, which Kendrick Bourne definitely did. And the play gets him into field goal range, finally. Now you can see where the ball is spotted there at the 10-yard line. That's field goal range for a game like this. The score is 3-0. And Washington knows that they have to respond. And they go on a very nice drive all the way down to the 29-yard line, but Adrian Peterson fumbles the football, and it's recovered by San Francisco. Huge play. Now Sheldon Day was the one who made the tackle, but I want you to watch number 56. K'Wan Alexander, because he's the one who comes in at the end and punches this football out as Peterson is going to the ground. Watch this. He's been a huge addition to the 49ers this year, generating multiple turnovers, and that was a big one. Now the 49ers are in business, and they have completely taken over the second half of this game, both offensively and defensively. And here, after this play, it's a huge 3rd down and 5, and Garoppolo comes up with another nice one. We're going to see George Kittle run to the middle of the field, and you'll see the linebacker isn't quite able to stay with him. Watch. Kittle reaches up and makes a nice catch, and at the end of the play, we see, wait a second, that's not a linebacker, that's Quentin Dunbar, the corner. A corner's having a tough time covering George Kittle. And you can see he's upset. He's sticking his hands out. He was expecting help from the safety and the middle linebacker on the play. And if you watch, they both move to their right here. Now, why did they do that? Well, let's go back to the snap. Now, when Garoppolo gets his football, he stares hard to the left side of the field, and he's looking off the defense, and he causes them to move, and only after they move does he then throw the football to Kittle. Now that takes time, of course, and you can see Garoppolo takes a little bit of a hit there, but he stands in the pocket, and Kittle just reaches up and makes a spectacular catch. We're talking wide receiver skills in a body of the best tight end in the league. Okay, we're in the 4th quarter now, and the teams have switched sides, but it's the same drive. And here San Francisco has offensively probably the play of the game for them. It's a play we've seen them run over and over and over again with a fake to the running back, and then you see Kendrick Bourne fake like he's going to dive into the line and block and just come across all the way to the other side of the field. Now again, Garoppolo looks off the defense and then throws Bourne the football, and the defender whiffs, and Bourne gets up and runs into the end zone. Now, they mark him at the 6-yard line at the end of this play, but when we take a look from this angle, you're going to see that the 49ers are going to wish that they had challenged this, because he whiffs, And here you get a really good, clear view. Kendrick Bourne was not touched at the 6-yard line. That is a touchdown for the 49ers. And you can see the official coming over to mark it as if it's a touchdown. And it's unclear why they moved the ball back to the 6. But the 49ers will gladly take the field goal and take a 6-0 lead, which at this point in the game, with their defense, is a pretty strong lead. And they get the ball back again. And again, they're facing a critical 3rd down and 5. And when the 49ers need it the most, they're just going to rely on their two best offensive players, Jimmy Garoppolo and George Kittle. Kittle just runs to the middle of the field where there's some space, and in a tight window, Garoppolo gets him the football for a 1st down. Now we're going to see the Redskins put a new defender on Kittle this time, Jimmy Moreland, and he does a much better job of staying with Kittle throughout the play. But Kittle's still able to get that little bit of separation. And look at Garoppolo fit this ball in, like I said, to a tight window. The ball is right on the money. You are seeing a high level of play in monsoon-like conditions. This is very impressive. Huge completion. 49ers keep the drive going. And it puts them in position to put the final nail in the coffin and take a 9-0 lead. And ladies and gentlemen, we got to talk about Robbie Gould, because in extremely difficult conditions, he goes 3 of 4. He scored all of the 49ers points, 9 points. In a season where he's had some difficulties, he stepped up and he delivered. Great players aren't always great. They're just great when they have to be. And fittingly, it's the defense for the San Francisco 49ers that closes this game out with a bang. Check out Nick Bosa coming around the edge here, and you can see in a passing situation, the left tackle is no match for him. Good night. Thank you for playing. We are on to Carolina. Now, after this play, of course, you'll see Nick Bosa slide. And Moose made a great point on the telecast, which is when you have a young team that has a lot of fun, that can be very scary. The 49ers are very good this year. Like I said, this was a very impressive win for them. And they are going to face their toughest test of the season this Sunday against the Carolina Panthers. But you know what? The Carolina Panthers are the ones that are going to be facing their toughest test of the season against the San Francisco 49ers. I can't wait to see that game. I can't wait to break down the film of that game. And I can't wait to see you guys. Again, thank you to all my subscribers. Thank you for all the comments. I really appreciate the feedback. I try to read everything. Keep it coming, you guys. We're going to keep this thing rolling. Let's get to 7-0.